Amongst this all-out assault that we are witnessing in the United States is an all-out assault on organized labor. An assault on collective bargaining, an assault on the freedom to negotiate. What's the difference, Mr. Speaker, between us and our colleagues on the other side of the aisle? I think one of the things that is a clear difference, Mr. Speaker, is that we recognize that in connection with this journey, work hard, play by the rules, imagine and dare to dream the ability to live the good life, to experience the American dream. An American dream that when you work hard and play by the rules, you should be able to provide a comfortable living for yourself and for your family. Educate your children. Purchase a home. Have access to high-quality health care. Go on vacation every now and then. And then one day retire with grace and dignity. That's the American dream. That's the ability to afford and access the good life. And we believe as House Democrats that no single force in the United States of America has done more to bring the American dream to life than organized labor, and we will continue to stand up for organized labor today, tomorrow, and always. Not undermine good-paying union jobs. That's what this bill, this one big ugly bill, does in the United States of America. We're going to stand up. Stand up. Stand up for organized labor. This is personal to me. My parents, Marlon Jeffries, Lanita Jeffries, they raised us, my younger brother Hassan and I, they raised us in a working class union household. I'm thankful for that. We were raised in central Brooklyn. Now, my mom grew up in Connecticut. And I mentioned, that must be Johanna Hayes. I don't see Rosa DeLauro on my sight line, but we're so thankful for all of the members of the Connecticut delegation. I'm an unofficial sixth member of the Connecticut delegation. My mom raised in Bristol, Connecticut. She went to Bristol High School. Thankful for my mom. And my dad, I mentioned earlier, he grew up in Newark. That must be LaMonica McIver. I grew up in Brick City. I mentioned earlier he had the nickname Pudding. failed to ask him, but I'm going to see if my mom can unlock the key to that nickname for me. My mom grew up in Bristol, Connecticut, and my father grew up in Newark. And I mentioned earlier that he then went off to serve this country in uniform as an Air Force member, served in Germany during the Cold War. I think about that a lot. I didn't get to talk too much about it. I wish I would have had the opportunity to talk a little bit more with my dad about that. It's an extraordinary thing in the United States of America that someone could grow up in inner city Newark and then have the ability, in part, thanks to President Harry Truman, to serve with people of all races to defend this great country. I wish I would have had the opportunity to talk to my dad a little bit more about his experience in Germany, because the one thing that I've been able to take away from that experience was that he came back having fallen in love with Heinekens and Becks. But he came back after serving this country, Mr. Speaker, in uniform, as so many men and women do right now in uniform. And let me make clear, we're so thankful, we're so appreciative of the courage of the men and women in uniform who serve in the United States military, and we will always stand behind you. We thank you for your service, your patriotism, your courage, your heroism, and your sacrifice, lifting up the freedom that is America. You are not suckers, you are heroes. You're not suckers, you're heroes. We're thankful for your service. The men and women, no better hype person than Frederica Wilson. So my dad, as I mentioned, grew up in Newark. My mom in Bristol, Connecticut. So they meet at Central State University. Proud to note, a historically black college and university that has given so much. Historically black colleges and universities to the United States of America, and we will always stand behind you. Always stand behind you. We will always stand behind you. I wouldn't be here right now without a historically black college and university. I'll never run away from that. I will never run away from that. And we're proud of the fact, we can check the record, proud of the fact that over the last few years prior to this administration, historic investment in Hispanic serving institutions, in historically black colleges and universities, in higher education. That's part of who I am right now. I don't know if I'll have time to tell the story of my grandmother. Maybe I will. I got so many stories, I feel like I'm in a hip-hop studio right now. But they all relate to what makes every single one of us, every single Democrat, have a story to tell. A story to tell. Brooklyn will get that. Every single one of us have a story to tell. That leads us to this moment. It's the reason why we're fighting hard against this incredible and unprecedented assault on the American way of life and an assault on organized labor. So my parents, they meet at Central State University, and Dad would tell us, my younger brother and I, that it was love at first sight. But apparently my mom said, not so fast. But it worked out. I'm thankful for that. They met at Central State University. And so, of course, I mentioned that mom from Connecticut, father from New Jersey. Why was it that we grew up in New York City? Apparently, they compromised and moved to Brooklyn. And so I'm raised in Brooklyn, New York, working class neighborhood, in the middle of the crack cocaine epidemic. Dangerous times in New York City. In a union household, proud that I grew up in the Cornerstone Baptist Church, still a member of the Cornerstone Baptist Church. Grew up in this union household. And Mr. Speaker, I land on that moment, and every single one of us as House Democrats have a similar story to tell about why in our heart, in our soul, in our essence, in our experience, we're so horrified by the attacks on organized labor. Because we understand the importance of what organized labor has meant to the American journey. My mom and dad were both public servants throughout their entire lives. My mom worked for 45 years, DC 37, for the city of New York. My dad, he worked for 30 years. He was a member of the Public Employees Foundation. He was a substance abuse social worker dealing with addiction. During the heroin explosion of the 1970s, the crack cocaine epidemic of the 1980s. But they got married in 1967. And they were newlyweds. And many people familiar with the history of the labor movement, particularly in New York City, know that in 1967, the Social Service Employees Union, which they both belonged to at the time, famously went on strike for better pay, better health care, better working conditions, and most importantly, better service to the clients that they served. And I've thought about that fact. They were newlyweds, a few months in, and they had to make a decision when the Social Service Employees Union went out on strike, whether they would cross the picket line, because it was unclear, perhaps, how they would pay for food and rent and clothing as newlyweds in a new city. Or, Mr. Speaker, were they going to stand in solidarity with their union brothers and sisters? I'm so thankful, Mr. Speaker, when I learned that my parents made that decision to stand on that picket line for as long as it took in solidarity with their union brothers and sisters. That's part of our DNA. That's part of why we fight so hard. We can all trace a similar story. An inheritance from our parents and our grandparents. All of us have that kind of story to tell. Why am I so thankful that my parents made what I believe was a tough personal decision, but of course the right decision? It's because what that union membership actually meant to my journey and my younger brother's journey. 1973, my younger brother was born with a serious heart condition. He's okay right now. He's doing well. Right now, he continues to say on social media that he's our mother's favorite son. Let me say from the House floor, no, you are not. I think she favors both of us. A younger brother, 1973, he's born with a serious heart condition. He's okay right now. He's born with a serious heart condition. I'm thankful that it was that union negotiated health care that got our family through that difficult moment. That's why we do what we do. Our own personal experience. And then in the early 80s, my parents, modest living. Neither of them, even at the tail end of decades-long careers, ever made more than $50,000. Modest living. But in the early 80s in Crown Heights, rough neighborhood, central Brooklyn, they bought their first and only home. They were able to buy that home, the home that my younger brother Hassan and I were raised in, because of that union negotiated salary, and pay off the mortgage down to zero because of that union negotiated salary. This is personal to us, our own journey. And lastly, as it relates to this part of my journey, why we all fight for what we fight for, why we stood behind Mike Thompson's amendment to protect good-paying union jobs. I went to college. I went to Binghamton University. When I first got here, I was surprised to learn, actually, that I was the first graduate of Binghamton University ever elected to the United States Congress. I was shocked to learn that, but not the last. Because Vindman and Mannion have now joined us. And so we tripled the size of the Binghamton University delegation. It's part of the reason why we stand up for higher education and public education. That's our own experience. So I graduated from Binghamton University. My younger brother graduated from Morehouse University. I think that was Hank Johnson. Sanford Bishop. Graduated from Morehouse. I graduated from Binghamton University. And somehow, we managed to graduate from college without owing anything. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out how. Because as I mentioned, my mom, my dad, they just earned a modest living all throughout their careers. So one day I had a conversation with my mom and I was trying to figure it out. How did you pull that off? She said, well, I wanted to make sure my two sons could have a clean start to life. So I borrowed against my union negotiated pension to make sure my two sons could get free and clear of loans and get a higher education as part of our effort to experience the American dream. And so we all say to our brothers and sisters in organized labor, you don't ever have to worry about whether House Democrats are going to stand up for you because you've always been there for us. You've always been there for us. You've always been there for us. That's our personal story. And every single one of us, we do this work because we've lived a life of opportunity that this great country has provided to us. And we're deeply troubled, saddened, disgusted that this great institution, this House of Representatives, Mr. Speaker, Republicans are trying to jam this one big ugly bill down the throats of the American people. A bill that hurts everyday Americans in order to reward billionaires with massive tax breaks. Shame on this institution if that bill ever passes.